2 years ago, I turned 30 years old, and now I'm 32. I remember when I was 30, I told myself a whole bunch of things I wanted to change. And some things I did change, some things I didn't change. And I want to talk about all of that. I want to talk about all of that today in this EP. I want to talk about the money, I want to talk about the mindset, I want to talk about the growth and development. So let me go ahead and share that with you, and then let's see what changed. So if you're new here, thank you so much for joining today's video. It means a lot to me. And for those who are subscribed to the channel still, thank you so much for staying subscribed. I know I haven't posted in a while. I've just been doing so many different ventures, and I still do have a 9-to-5. So that does, change how my workflow can be and where my ambition and energy goes towards. But I really appreciate those for staying subscribed. Please also like, follow, and subscribe to those who are new watching today's video. Before we begin today's video, I would like to go ahead and give you guys a reintroduction into what this channel is about. And this channel is mainly about lifestyle, fitness, mindset, growth, development, and finances. Going over what to do with your finances, how to improve, telling you my story, and then, building off that where maybe you guys may take a page out of my book or say, I'm not going to do what that guy is doing. So I just wanted to give you guys a little introduction again into what the channel is about. And then, I'm going to continue to post content following that. So now let's actually get to the meat and potatoes of the video. Come on, and let's talk about it. I'm not here to tell you that I've got all things figured out, because I don't. But I picked up some things over the last 2 years that changed how I move throughout my life. And that's what this channel is going to be about. Finding the habits, the mindset, and the choices that make life feel good to live. And yeah, sometimes that lifestyle includes a controller and a Sunday afternoon of matter. Living good doesn't always mean being locked in 24/7. It means making the room to do the things you actually enjoy doing. So now, let's get into the lessons that I learned from 30 to 32. And I'll be honest with you, I learned, I wouldn't say I learned a lot, but I wouldn't say I learned nothing at all either. There's a lot I've learned over the course of time, but there's some key things that I've learned between 30 and 32 that made me take a seat and say, okay, these are very important to handle. So let's get to that, right? The first one that I stand by is really taking care of your money. Man, I really think taking care of your money is probably one of the most important things to do in your 30s. And I'm not saying it's not important to do in your 20s, but I think in your 20s, you're more so a risk taker, and you're probably not making as much. You probably don't have knowledge to save. But once you hit 30, I think, all those bells and whistles start to hit you a little bit when it comes to saving your money, planning for the future, making sure you have an emergency fund, making sure you got 6 months saved for rent or whatever expenses, medical bills. So I started to put all those things in perspective once I turned 30, and I wasn't perfect at it. I'm not gonna say that when I hit from 30 to 32, I'm not gonna say that I was completely reckless, but I was definitely just not all here with how I was handling my money. There was just certain things I was doing wrong. Gambling, sports betting to be exact, shopping, buying unnecessary things, eating out when I could have been cooking at home. So when I'm looking at the, yearly spend over the last 2 years, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm spending a little bit too much than what I'm making. And not only that, I'm not saving enough. So I'm starting to look at, okay, I really need to start taking care of my finances. I think in my 20s, I was a bit reckless. I was a bit of a risk taker. I was willing to go ahead and use my money to make more money. And at that time, and mind you, there were times where maybe I over leveraged my hand. Then lesson number 2 is just taking care of your physical and mental health, man. I think most importantly, when I was in my 20s, everything was so much of grind, hustle culture, wake up super early. Man, I was getting up 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare for trading. Now I get up at 5:45. I'm on West Coast time. The market opens up at 6:30 a.m. If you guys know stock market, I'm giving stock market talk. At this point. But when I was on the East Coast, living in New York City, and forgive me because I do stammer and stutter at times. When I was living back east, the market opens up at 9:30. So I would get up at like 8 in the morning and then prepare. But here on the West Coast, I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, and this is in my 20s, I'm over here preparing for the markets to open up 6:30. I think that's a bit extreme, you know? So I started to just really like pay attention to where I'm putting my energy towards, how my energy is being even presented in certain spaces, if that's work, if that's in the gym, if that's around friends and family. So by me saying put your physical and mental health first, always think about how you feel mentally. And then also when it comes to like your body, pay attention to how your body feels so that you know how to respond. Then now when I think of lesson number 3, lesson number 3 is pretty much just being mindful of your time. When I'll go ahead and I mention, be mindful of your time, be mindful who you spend your time with, be mindful where you put your energy towards, just really take care of your time as much as possible, because that time that you got right now won't be there forever. It's probably gonna go ahead and run off to the next thing. And then before you know it, you're gonna look back and be like, damn, like where did time go? Well, time doesn't stop running. That's the problem. So that's why I said be mindful of your time, be mindful who you spend it with, be mindful what you put your energy towards, be mindful what you put your time on, just so you could go ahead and put your time towards the things that actually you love to do and you benefit from, and from whoever else is benefiting from you. But as long as you're happy with it, then everything is all good.
So right now you guys are seeing me in the gym, and this is the next segment I want to speak on. It's about good habits and bad habits. And man, I tell you this, one of the good habits that I built ever since I was young, I started working out when I was about, I worked out like 13, 12, but I think I really got serious about it when I was in high school playing football around 16, 17. But it really carried me forward in college, and I started to build my ground off that. And then to see myself be 32 now and still work out, I find that to be amazing, because I think at some point we all end up, I wouldn't say we all, but at some point some people just go ahead and say, I don't even want to work out no more, I don't want to be as physically active, and they kind of like dial back their workouts. But me, I've always been consistent. Even the days I didn't want to come in here, or I don't want to come in here, I'm still in here. So let's continue this conversation elsewhere. Alrighty. I do want to highlight this product, this DJI Mini. I ain't gonna lie, this is a really good microphone. I remember the days when I was using the Rode mic. Don't get me wrong, I still use the Rode mic, but this DJI, it just helps with recording in the gym and just being a little bit more mobile. I'm not sure how the audio is, so forgive me. It's my first time really using this thing like that. But to add on good and bad habits, man, I say stretching. You see, right now I'm stretching before I get to my workout. I feel like the video is a little bit warped right now, but I'm stretching right now. And, when I mention good habits, this helps me with my days. And not only just feeling good, but mentally. Because I think to come out here and do this all the time, I work out like 3-4 times a week. I think just this week alone, I done played golf. I done learned, I went to a golf class. I did an F45 training for High Rocks. I think I did back and bicep day on Monday, or chest. I don't know what I did on Monday or Tuesday. And then today, I'm doing legs. And it's just like, these things help me stay sane just within my weeks, within my months, just throughout the year and years. I always told myself that if I wanted to go pro, I would have to make working out a lifestyle. And unfortunately, I didn't go pro. But evidently, I still made this my lifestyle. All right, so let's get into some bad habits. Well, one of my bad habits is not really being consistent with my ideas. That's something that I've been struggling with for the past few years. I think when I was in my early 20s, mid-20s, I went through with all of my ideas, good or bad. And once I got probably in my late 20s, coming up all the way to 32, I've just been distracting myself with doing other things that either matter or don't matter, just to not do the things that I really want to do, and and also not expanding on my thoughts and my creativity. And I think now, I want to just break out of that. I want to go back into, that mindset that I had a little bit when I was in my 20s, when I was just relentless and ruthless about my ideas and my creativity, and I wanted to go ahead and just push that content out, or I wanted to just create something that felt right to me. And as I got older, like I said, I just got so consumed with making money. I got so consumed with just not following through on things. And maybe, a piece of that was fear. A piece of that was also me being uncomfortable and always learning. I also got tired of learning to a degree. I know you always got to learn, but, it could be a lot to always learn something new, especially when we got AI, especially when we have, different ways to monetize content, different ways to go about making money, different ways to make yourself happy. There's just so much information that I kind of just got tired, and my creativity and my ideas just kind of, stunted. All right, y'all. So this is the fulfillment segment. And what I mean by fulfillment is that doing things that fulfill you. And golf is the newest thing in my life that is fulfilling me. I don't play college football no more. I don't do any of those high-intensity sporting events. But I like to do things that fulfill me and make me feel whole. And golf has become one of those things to do that for me. Now, I'm not the best golf player. I just started playing golf. I'm about a year and some change. Well, I'm under a year in. I've had my clubs for under a year, but I've been playing here and there. But I say this to hopefully you guys can find something that you guys like, a hobby or something that can really challenge you and, really put you in a space where you want to do and try different things. So this is my fulfillment. And this brings me, peace, man. So I'm about to hit this ball, and you're about to see how I hit this. You guys are not going to see the range, but, hopefully it's a good hit. So let's see. Nice hit, slice, though. Got contact, so I take it. Let's try one more. 2, 3. Ooh, that was nice. That was nice. That was nice.
So let's talk a little bit more about physical activity. Physical activity has been the most consistent thread throughout my 30s so far. Not because I love every single gym session. Some days I really don't even want to be in the gym. But because I've stopped treating consistency as something that requires motivation, that has helped move the needle a lot. The routine looks simple on paper. Show up, do the work, track the progress. But staying consistent for years, not weeks, that's the actual skill. I used to chase intensity. Now I chase consistency because consistency is what actually compounds over time. And to add on to consistency, there's so many things in life we need to be consistent with our personal things like chores around the home, and then adding on to chores, going back to the main thing, our finances. So let me circle back to that conversation because I touched on it earlier, but it deserves a real breakdown. The shift for me wasn't about the numbers exactly. It was about the relationship I had with money. I stopped avoiding my finances and started actually looking at them regularly. That alone changed more than any specific strategy I have done in the past. I also had to get honest about my spending patterns that weren't really serving me. And that does include the gambling habit I mentioned. Financial health, at least for me, isn't about being rich. It's about being able to look at your finances and not being afraid of that. So thank you guys for joining today's video. I really do appreciate you taking the time out to watch this content that I've recorded, edited, and posted for you guys. It really means a lot to me. And I just wanted to share just my habits, what's going on, what I'm fulfilled by, what I'm still working on, which I'm still working on my relationship with my money. I'm still working on taking care of my time and where I put my time and energy to. So I want you guys to go ahead and think the same thing. If there's anything here that went ahead and resonated with you guys, please add some comments down below on what you may have going on, and I'd love to respond back or even just hear from you. All right? This is only the first video. We got more to come. So I really, once again, I really do appreciate you all watching this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like, follow, subscribe. Catch you. Peace.